Hi everyone, it's Janet Wakeland with RemarkablyCreated.com. In today's One Take Wonder video, we are going to take a look at creating skin tones with the new Stampin Blends from Stampin UP. If you're not familiar with the Stampin Blends, they debuted on November 1st, and they are an artist quality alcohol marker, which really allows you to do some beautiful blending work on your stamped creations. They are a dual tip marker. They are sold in individually or in sets where you have the light and the dark version. They are also sold in a complete set, and then there are 3 specialty markers: the bronze, the ivory, and the color lifter. So let's go ahead and let me show you the samples here first. These are all featuring Garden Girl. Of course, there are lots of other stamps that you can create skin tones on. We've got our beautiful you, the sweet little moon baby. We've got the ballerina in our sugar plum set. So we've definitely the mermaid. We've definitely got other sets. I chose the Garden Girl just because of her size. It's going to allow you to see the blending a little bit better. But I thought I'd start off first by showing you the finished samples. So I just had a little bit of fun playing. I had to do a brunette, one with dark black hair, and then one with blonde. So get the different girls in there. Okay, so with the blends, you want to stamp with a Memento ink. So you want to make sure that you've got a Memento ink pad to stamp with, and you want to make sure that your ink is good and dry. And here, it's not smearing or any of that kind of stuff, so it's nice and dry. How long it takes the ink to dry depends on the humidity level of where you're at, how wet your pad is, things like that. So it can vary just a little bit, but you do want to make sure that it's dry. So let's start first, and let me just pull the bronze here for just a second. So Stampin' Up! Has kind of labeled the bronze and the ivory as skin tones, but I also like to work with the light crumb cake and the light pink pirouette and the color lifter to achieve some skin tones. So let's start first with the ivory, and we can do a little bit of comparison on how this might look. So this is the ivory. And as I've said in previous videos, you always kind of want to work in a small surface, which would be, or small area, which would be her face. And you also want to make sure that you have a piece of paper underneath to protect your work surface. A good wet blends pen will bleed through, so that's a good thing. So here you can see what the blends looks like. Just kind of tone on tone. And this is just the ivory, and this is how dark this looks. If you want to have a lighter shade of this ivory, what you can do is you can take your color lifter and you can pull up. So I can kind of pull some of the color up, maybe in areas. I can also pull color up, and I can just start to lighten it just by washing the entire thing with the Stampin' Blends. I mean the color lifter, excuse me, over the Stampin' Blends. So this is your ivory. So now let's go ahead and let's take a look at our pink, our light pink pirouette. And this is one of the ones that I've really kind of enjoyed working with. But I also found coming back in and doing the same thing with the color lifter and lightening it, just all over lightening, is going to give me a much softer, more of a flesh tone. So, and you can let it dry a little bit, and then you can come back in. Same thing here. Now that this is dry, I could come back in and pull some more of that color out. As I pull some of the color out, then I could come back in and do a little bit of shading if I wanted to. One of the other things that I like to use the light pink pirouette for is, of course, to add a little bit of rosy cheek highlights on there. You can always use your light calypso coral for that as well. So here we have the ivory, and here we have the light pink pirouette. So now let's go ahead and let's move over and let's work with the bronze. Let's pull that one in. So you can see the contrast, and you can see it's going to be a much darker color. The bronze also layers really nice with the light crumb cake and the crumb cake. And here where I went outside the line a little bit, that's going to be a great place to come back in with the color lifter and push that color back in where I want it to be. I'm trying to avoid her lips here. So there we have our bronze. And you're seeing what it looks like full strength. And like I said, of course, as you did with all the others, we can come back in with our color lifter and we can adjust that color however we want to adjust it with the color lifter. They're lightening the whole thing. Let's lighten this whole thing up so you can see the difference here. If you can compare that, her face to her arms. So of course you always have that option of playing with it and using your markers to help you with that. The other thing that you have is you always have the opportunity to come back in, and here I'm coming back in with the light crumb cake. And just kind of going back over. So you can just kind of play with all of your blendings and your shades to get the desired skin tone that you're wanting to play with. And while I have the light crumb cake out, let's go ahead and let's look at that. Now this one's kind of appears more gray. But just so you can see some of the options for working with your skin tones and things like that. Now one thing I've been wanting to try, and let's see how this works using crumb cake. Give her a couple little freckles. Oh, that works great. Look at her cute little freckles. So here again, we have ivory, we have the pink pirouette, we have the bronze, and we have the crumb cake. And I'll bring my little girls back in and I'll show you a couple others again that are completed just so you can see. And this one here was the ivory. And we took the color lifter inside, kind of kept it dark on the lines, and then we added some big rosy cheeks to her. This one is the pink pirouette. And then again, I went all over it with the color lifter. And she's got some nice little rosy cheeks here. Here is another one. This one was done with ivory, and again, same thing, color lifter towards the center of the face, kept dark lines, a little bit of a darker cheek here. This one here is the ivory, and kind of a little bit of the color lifter around it. And then this one we left the ivory a little bit darker. So again, light crumb cake, light pink pirouette, and then your specialty markers, your ivory, your bronze, and then your color lifter. So come visit me at remarkablycreated.com. I'll have these samples posted for you, as well as there's links to a PDF for you with blends tips. There's also ordering information for the markers. And as always, if you don't have a demonstrator that you work with, you're more than welcome to request a complimentary catalog. Thanks for watching, guys.